outside world. Every animal, every species does the same. Even plants come from the seeds. But we are the most intelligent ones. And we seem to forget that all the wisdom still lies inside. And we try to accrue information and wisdom outside. Yes, there's a lot of how to work and how to navigate through our life information outside. But without our understanding of that, without our perception of how to do it, it doesn't work too much, does it? Otherwise, we would not be here or would not need anybody else to be serene, to be in one place, or to be, in control of ourselves. Normally what we do, we just messed up and then we run to clean it up. And we messed up because we don't look inside. We just react instead of proact. We don't look inside of us. So my first thank you for you was for helping this atmosphere. Because when you sit here and you get calm, you get in tune with the energy that is inside this room. And you just raise the energy. So if we are going to have a great time, it's just about us. It's just because we did it. We help. Because we concentrate in ourselves. We concentrate and get calm. We concentrate and get in touch with ourselves. So that's the time that the speech, that's the time that the lecture or whatever instruction comes, goes straight to us, not to our brain, not to external concerns. We're not looking outside at this point because we took time to calm down. We took time to look inside. Choosing your trials. Let's see if it works. There you go. What are trials? For Spiritism, there are situations that help us to learn or to test our capability. The divine providence make us go through these trials because they are necessary to our intellectual moral progress. So that is a clue right there. Because normally when we get to a point that something not pleasant is happening, we are to blame. Not us, but we are to blame. Something, somebody, some situation, the conjunction of the stars, so far and so on. But those trials are there for us to learn, for us to progress. There is no way for us to move from point A to point B without some movement, without some learning, without some hard work. And when you put the words hard and work together, it looks like pretty bad, right? It looks like really, I'm not in the mood of doing hard work. Yes, we are not in the mood of doing hard work, and that's why it hurts so bad. Because we postpone, we'll leave it for tomorrow, and then the other day, and then the other day. And there comes a day that you need to do it no matter what. And at that day, if you did it before, it would be a lot easier. But you chose to wait. And now you have to do it. And now it's kind of painful. But in this sense, pain is the fuel that moves us forward. Without it, we're going to stay in the same place and we're not going to progress. So that's what trials are for, to make us to progress. What kind of trials? Any kind of trial. Any kind of trial. Without them, we would not reach the full development of our potentialities, nor have merit to enjoy the benefits or achieve perfection. That's how important they are. That's how important we pay attention that what's there for me? That is a situation that I want to be involved in, but I am. What's there for me? What is the learning attached to that? Yes, pain is necessary, as I just said. But suffering is optional. Suffering comes from a lack of understanding that that situation that we are facing is for us to grow, not just suffer. So what is the information behind this test, this trial? How can I use that to never go again and have to do it? In other words, how can I pass this test? If I get an 8 grade, a 9, or a 10, I'm probably never going to see that test in front of me again. How do I do that? First, accepting, right? It's not a disgrace. It's not poor me. It's what I need to face. It's not what I need to deal with in order to progress, in order to grow. The corporeal life gives us certain kinds of trials indispensable to our spiritual progress. Planet Earth is a planet of trials and tribulations. But what if you just think about for a moment, what if all of this was planned? No, not down to the last detail, but to the broad strokes. Yes. If we're lucky enough, in past incarnations, we got to choose some of our qualities and some of our problems. And normally when we are discarnated, when we are in the spiritual world, and we have all the wisdom that we accrue from centuries, we are really brave and courageous. And we say, yes, I can take everything, so give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that. I'm going to take everything. In one incarnation, I'm going to get rid of 10 problems. And then the spirits say, hey, slow down. Think about it. Maybe if you do like instead of 10, maybe 3? What about 2.5? Would you mind to reconsider? And then we come and we try. And then we start doing what? Blaming what we chose, because we don't remember anymore that it was our choice. But as a matter of fact, it was our choice. Otherwise, we're never going to grow. We're never going to get rid of that aspect of our morale, of our character that is bugging us. So it's a different understanding of what we call problems. Problems are nothing but a trial, and trial's nothing but a test. So pass the test and see if you're going to get that again. You won't. But are you willing to pass the test without doing the blame game? Without trying to get somebody to accuse for your misfortune? And of course, as spiritists, we're not going to blame God, which is our last resource. But then we found another name that is pretty cool, karma. It's my karma. I have a bad karma. Yeah, karma is just a law of action and reaction. So what you did and what you do, it's going to have a consequence. And that's karma. Do something good, your karma is going to be awesome. Do something bad, I'm sorry. Deal with it. What guides spirits in choosing their trials? He chooses according to the nature of his faults, those that lead to their atonement and to progress quickly. Some, therefore, impose on themselves a life of misery and deprivation in order to support them with courage. So if you had a poor childhood, if you had bad conditions, if we had a lot of things that you wish you didn't, it's time to reconsider now. You probably wish you do. And I'm saying that because I'm right on the opposite, not totally opposite side, because I'm not born in a golden crib, but maybe a silver that turned to bronze and copper during the years. But I was a brat. I was spoiled. And what happened? It took me 4 times longer than somebody that has to fight for their life since the very early days and know the value and know how good it is to conquer things for yourself. Me in the other side, it's like, oh, everything comes. So why am I going to bother to do something? Up to a point that life takes a toll. And then you have to do it by yourself. So, yes, somebody choose a life of misery, to live differently, to understand something that he or she never did in the past life. But some prefer the experience of temptations, of wealth and power, much more dangerous through the abuse of misapplication. As I just told you, it's dangerous. We get used to that. Who doesn't get used to a good life? Who doesn't get used to have a lot of money? Who doesn't get used to, well, don't think about where the money is going to come to pay my taxes or to pay the rent. And if I have money enough, I don't even have a rent, or to pay for anything. Everything is there for me. And the funny thing is that our fathers, and maybe us, we fight the whole life to leave something for our kids. And there are some written from the spirits telling us that when they discarnate and they go to their funeral, they see their kids fighting for the money that mom and dad left to them. They left the money for the kids to be well, they be okay. And instead of that, they choose to fight to see who gets the biggest part of it. So that's how fragile this relation is with money, with power. And that's how tricky. It's a thin ice, easy to slip and easy to drown. Many at least decide to experiment their forces and the struggle they will have to sustain in contact with the addiction. What is addiction? We just think that addiction is about drugs, right? There's a lot of different types of addiction. If there's something that you do every day, constantly, and it's not natural, it's not normal, even talk bad about somebody every single day, it's an addiction. It becomes a habit. Think about it. We are made of energy. We are polarized by this energy. If we put bad energy through our thoughts in our system, what kind of energy are we going to attract to ourselves? What kind of spirits are going to walk among us? That's how spiritual intelligent we have to be. So if you're starting to feed bad thoughts, bad feelings, get out of that really quick. Change your vibration. Change your thoughts. Pray. Listen to speeches. Read something good. Nothing work? Listen to a good song, to a good music. A song that reminds you to a situation that you were happy, that your feelings were totally different. And then you just break, you just cut this connection with that kind of energy. And that energy will not gonna haunt you. But it's up to you, because if you just let it go and walk your day without thinking, you're just like like a boat needing the wind to move. And you can't control the winds, but you can control your boat. We have to try, and we have to do that. Are all spirits in a position to plan their own reincarnation? What you think? Yes, no, maybe? Please don't say it all together, because I cannot hear you. This comes from Involution in Two Worlds, a book from Andrew Lewis. Do you think that every kind of spirit can choose his or her reincarnation? Please?
I believe that, I'm not sure. I believe that it all depends on the level of evolution of that spirit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I believe.
Any other?
If it's in a very low level of evolution, maybe the spirit needs help to choose what the spirit is going to face to the next incarnation.
You want to add to that, Alvaldo? Because I'm seeing your brain like, getting this light bulb light.
I'm sorry.
No, you're right.
I would say that you read the Spirit School.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's very aligned
Yeah.
to the.
But just remember that it does. If you are bad or if you have a negative energy, it doesn't mean that you have a low intelligence. You can have a low energy or a negative energy, but you can be as intelligent as the high spirits. And we know that. We have a lot of literature telling us that. So it really depends on the level of information that the spirit has, because he can be very intelligent and evil at the same time. But yes, you're right. Categorically superior spirits can shape themselves, meaning they can choose pretty much what's going to happen and how they're going to come. Shape your body. The body in which future experience will continue. But at the same time, categorically inferior spirits on most occasions enter the fluid symbiosis with the organizations to which they are aggregate in ways entirely independent of the heredity. There's some spirits that need to reincarnate right off the bat. And not because they deserve another opportunity to reincarnate right off the bat. Just because if they stay in the spiritual world, it's going to be worse for them. Because they gather so many enemies waiting for them. That is better. That's the mercy of God. Judge that it's better for them to reincarnate in a body that is not capable, that cannot produce regular thoughts, that cannot do any harm to others. So he's trapped in a body that he cannot do too much with that, but this is a disguise. Chico Xavier, he was one of the tales from Chico Xavier, one of the greatest mediums that we had in Brazil. They said that he was going to the same house every week to treat this, not kid anymore, but he didn't have any control to his body. Everything was dependent on others. And every time Chico got to the house, he was worse and worse. And you know, if you don't control your bowel movement, if you don't control anything, it's really a mess. So once the doctor told him, Chico, there is nothing that we can do. Don't you think that euthanasia is the right way to do it? And he said, no, doctor. No, he's here exactly because the high spirits don't want him to suffer more in the spiritual world. Because there's a lot of people trying to get revenge with him. So, yes, although it seems that it's hard to look at him in this situation, he's better here than discarnated. Wow. This is kind of a concept, right? We never thought about this. We never thought through these lenses. And that's the way it is. There's no punishment. There's always, for this kind of spirits, accommodation. How can I make you better? You're not going to come from point 0 to point to 10 in once. So I have to push you to 2, then to 4, then to 7, and so far and so on. I have to move you slowly, but I have to move you. So yes, they don't choose where they're going to reincarnate. As a spirit, at its origin, is simple, ignorant, and without experience, how can he make an intelligent choice of an existence? And how can he be responsible for such a choice? Just a parenthesis here. The book, the Spiritist book, was the first book that Allan Kardec wrote for the Spiritism codification. And it was like Kardec's questions about. So he's always asking the high spirits, so if we're simple and ignorant, we don't have any experience, how can we choose our incarnation? If I don't know nothing, how can I choose my incarnation? How can I choose what I'm going to be? And how can I be responsible for what I chose? And then the spirits just answer to him. God supplies what is lacking through his inexperience by tracing out for him the road which he has to follow, as you do for the infant in his cradle. But he allows him little by little to become the master of his choice, in proportion as his free will becomes developed. And it is then that he often loses his way and takes the wrong road, if he do not listen to the advice of the good spirits. Let's put that in an easy way to understand. That is when we start paying attention to the external world instead of paying attention to ourselves, to our internal God tells us. We know what is wrong and what is right. But in the name of belonging to a certain group, in the name of getting a better life, a healthier life, in the name of doing something that pleases us, we messed up. We take the wrong detour. And it takes us longer to go back to the road. And sometimes it takes us more than one incarnation. And that what we call, the fallen spirits. Why fallen? We just don't understand how to deal with our free will so far. But we will. And if God believes that, why shouldn't we? If he sees us as angels in the end, why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we give this silver lining that will hang us accountable to what we do? That's the thing. We have to believe in ourselves, even though we know that we don't do good all the time. But that we do have good inside of us. And we have to polish this. We have to look inside. We have to bring it out. What happens to an egg that is about to hatch if an external force breaks it? What happened to life? Life ends. And what if it breaks from inside out? Life happens. Every life happens from inside out. And we forget to look inside when we need answers for our lives. We always look outside. Occidental culture, we are used to look outside. Oriental, look inside. That has to be a balance in between. Because look inside and don't do anything doesn't work as well. A life of meditation without giving to the world anything that you realize doesn't do anything. It's still egoism because it's just for yourself. But a life just doing, and never understanding what's going on with yourself doesn't do anything as well. And sometimes it creates more harm than helps people. So we need to understand most of our answers are inside of us. And that's why Spiritism tells us about self-knowledge. Merge into yourself. Understand what's happening inside there. Make peace to your problems. Recognize you have it. Be okay with that and start dealing with it. Start doing something to get better every day. If the Spirit has a choice of a kind of trials which he will undergo, does it follow that all the tribulations we experience in earthly life have been foreseen and chosen by us? Do you think so? So we saw everything. So if we can choose our life, if we can choose what kind of trials are going to happen to us, does that mean that we know everything that's going to happen? No, right? No. Because when we hear first, we forget who we are as immortal spirits. And second, we are exposed to free will, that we don't know how to use it. So of course, there is no way to. It would not be correct to say that such has been the case with a lot of them. You have chosen the kind of trial to which you are subject. The details of this trial are a consequence of the general situation which you have chosen and are often the result of your own actions. So, it's not your karma, it's not your neighbor, it's not your mother-in-law, it's you. It's you. And once you realize that all the answers come from yourself, you start willing to look inside and try to extract that kind of truth, even though it hurts. But again, as I said, pain is a fuel to move us. Suffering from this pain is optional. In the full enjoyment of his free will and veracity, the Spirit can choose the kind of evidence for which he is to pass. Given the Spirit the freedom of choice, God leaves him the whole responsibility of their acts and consequences. We used to say, with knowledge comes responsibility. So if you are ignorant about something, there is no way for you to be responsible for what you did. But if you know and you keep doing, then it's your fault, isn't it? First time, your fault. Second time, my fault. Third time, hopefully, never going to happen. But as we are used to the saying, third is the charm, unfortunately, we don't find too much charm when it's about problems that we repeat. We keep doing, we keep feeding thoughts that don't make anything, that doesn't do anything good for us, and we keep liking to have it. You know, it's hard, but I think the first thing to do is just to admit that, yeah, I can have it. Because sometimes the thought is so hard to deal with, they say, no, I don't recognize it's not mine. I'm not going to take ownership of that. And until you take ownership of that, it's not going to change because it's not yours. but keep happening. But it's not yours. But keep happening, but it's not yours. And somehow, you have to break this cycle. Let's try to do it faster than slower. There was a book, it's not Spiritist, it's about neuroscience, it's about a scientist called Dan Ariely. He suffered burn in a car accident from, I think, 70–80% of his body. So every time the nurses will come to change the bandage, they start doing slowly. And that was painful. Up to a point that he said, can you please do it fast, like you take a bandage or something? And they keep doing slowly. And long time after he heals, he went back to the same hospital and asked the nurse, why didn't you do that when I asked? Because she said, and then she said, because the pain was so big for me to do that I could not do it. She was not feeling pain physically, but emotionally the pain was there. So for her, her choice was to do it slowly instead of fast. She was not considering the other side. She was not considering the other part, asking, please do it fast. No, it's going to hurt me. I'm not going to do. Well, it's going to hurt you, but it's not your problem. It's not your condition. So please help me. I'm telling you, I want you to help me this way. And you keep saying no because you think you know the best way of doing it. And sometimes the best way of doing it is just the best way for you, not for the other. We have to understand that.
Can you just elaborate a little bit on erraticity? I think it's kind of key.
Okay. Erraticity, is the time when we discarnate, when we leave our physical body, and we are on this kind of limbo because we not adapt to the new condition. That's not having a body, a physical body, and we don't know how to walk, how to be ourselves in the spiritual world. It's kind of a time that you are not testing the waters, but you are like, what's going to happen? I'm not comfortable with that. And then for a long time, you can stay in one state of mind that will keep you to some levels, like what we call we can call here, if we use not the spiritual terminology, we can say the purgatory. But we know that the purgatory is just the place that we go to purge our energy.
Like a conscientious timeline.
Mm-hmm. So it really depends. You can be in our eroticity for a long time. It depends of how conscious or how unconscious you are. How focused in your problems instead of focused in the solution you are. How poor me, why I'm here, I didn't do anything bad, instead of thinking, oh my God, maybe I was not that good. Sorry. Please, I'm sorry. Please help me. No high spirit will come to you until you ask for help. And right now, we think that it's easy. But when you discarnate, it's not easy. It's not easy to remember to ask for help. Because you're so, everything hits you. Every information, every energy, every spirit that passed by you hits you. And you forget who you are and forget what you're doing and you try to survive because that's all you understand in planet Earth. Live, stay healthy, try to do your stuff, and there's no way, there's nothing like this out there. So it's hard to equalize. And once you understand that you are discarnate and that you don't belong to the place, and you start regretting what you did, not punishing, regretting, like, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. Please, can somebody help me? That's the time that you're going to get your help. That's the time that somebody will come to help you. Sorry, this last one just got cut, and I didn't check this one. And something just got in. Okay, back here. Bye. Let me try it again. Just gonna pull it up a little. There you go. Ta-da. The fact of belonging to the Spirit, the choice of the genre of evidence does not imply that all the tribulations which he experienced are foreseen, and the particularities occur as a consequence of the acts and actions practices. So, you are just like this because you're just like your father. You're just like your grandpa. You're just like your uncle. It's your genes. It's in your genes, you know? I never married that people from that family because they're all bad genes. Well, yes, we were taught that genes control our lives. And then scientists came to tell us that what triggers the genes is perception, meaning the way you see life, the way you understand life, the way you give meaning to things that happen to you. Perception. Again, perception will dictate our acts and actions. If you choose to look at the bright side, you're probably going to see a lot of reasons to keep on being positive. If you choose to see the bad side, our brain is auto-deleting. We cannot get that much information. So if your choice is to see the bad side, all you're going to see is bad. It's our choice. Are we using it? Are we doing enough with that? Among the most difficult proofs for the evolving spirit, we have that of the richness, which shows temptation to selfishness, vanity, ambition, and avarice. It is also difficult to be born and live among people of bad life in an environment of delinquency. So, we are living in a world that is not perfect. It's far from perfect. That means that we are spirits far from perfect as well. It's really hard for us to live among people that feed this kind of character disease per se. And it's really easy for us to say, I'm just like that because that's where I grew. This is my family. I'm just like them. So you are giving your free will to somebody else, to some other influences, to some other circumstances, without understanding that you choose that as your trial. And if we know that to get better, we need to act in a better way, in the best way. So addiction is off the hook. Vanity is off the hook. Ambition is off the hook. Avarice is off the hook. Bad life is off the hook. Oh, but I'm bad because my whole family was bad, so everything I learned was bad. Okay. Great You realize that why you were bad and why you keep on being bad if you know that it's not good, if you know that it's not what you're looking for in life. So you know all the causes, right? And you don't change. Now it's your fault, not theirs. It's your free will. I lost my mouse again. Fantastic. The spirit and the orange are simple and ignorant, unable to choose the proof their need. God supplies an experience to them by tracing the way they should follow, as they do to the little children. When we are young at heart, young at spirit, yes, God will choose it for us. Will we grow up spiritually sane, and He allowed us to take our choices. And that's where we start messing up. So it's time for us to understand that and choose what we know, which is the straight path, straight door, but keep on going. If you're chubby like me, just do some, put the belly down and just pass like this. I don't know how you're going to do it, but just do it. Just try to do it. The door that has a lot of space are going to fill up a lot of people on your side. And mostly they don't know where they're going. And you go with them? Probably not, right? It's your choice. Why do you have a thumbprint which is not equal to anybody else? It's because you are unique and you still wanted to keep on doing. You still wanted to be bland with people, be the same as them. Why? You're a gift of God. You have all the gold, and you bury into the ground to give back to God when you discarnate. No, use it, shine, multiply. That's why we're here. God does not hasten atonement. He knows how to wait. Yet He can impose certain existence upon a spirit. Then he, by his inferiority or ill will, is not apt to understand what would be the most useful to him. If we don't know how to use the divine talents that God gave it to us, He's okay to wait. He's okay to wait until we are ready to. But if we think that we are inferior, or we think ourselves worse, or we think ourselves something bad, there is no way for us to change things in life. We have to start thinking about ourselves in a better way. We start healing this kind of focus that we have about ourselves. Yes, we're capable to do bad things. That is a slide that I like to use sometimes for fun, but of course, this is a catharsis as well from the Pink Panther that says, hey, if you want to talk bad about me, ask me first, but I know a lot of bad things about myself. That's it. Who better than us know how bad can we be? But even so, He's waiting for us to understand that we were not born to be bad. We're born to do good. How many incarnations that will take? It's up to us. It's up to us to realize that and to change that. Trials are indispensable for the perfecting of the spirit, but when it is brought up to a certain degree, it remains subject not to tests but to duties, whose satisfaction helps evolution to perfection. So some trials are not negotiable. We need to go through them to evolve to get better, to get closer to what we call perfection. The Spirit chooses a task that is above his strength and to succumb, as well as to choose an idle and useless life without any benefit to their evolution. Free will. What is our choice? We normally think that is the first one, right? Normally think that we choose to do good. But in the end, sometimes our focus got lost and we just don't do that good. Is that a way to repair that? Of course it is. If you can undo what you did, just start doing something good and keep on doing. Depending on the kind of atonement, a spirit who has lived among races regarded as civilized can reincarnate among later people. Meaning that what's happening now in planet Earth, we're moving, we're changing polarity of this planet, and somehow some really hard-hearted spirits, really bad spirits, will not have a chance to reincarnate in planet Earth again. Because of their energy and because of the energy that's going to change in this planet. It's hard for us to believe that, right? Because all we see is a lot of bad things happening around. But we are in the century of lights, and people say, wow, century of lights, everybody should be bright and nice. No, century of lights, we're seeing everything that is wrong. There's lights all over. Imagine yourself as a news reporter in the medieval century, just broadcasting that a village was just piled and burned. That didn't happen. The world didn't know, or many centuries after, everybody knew that. At this point, a little camera on your phone can broadcast everything wrong that happens around. And that's what this era of lights is. We are showing everything that is wrong. And last week, I put a slide here that say, why God allows that kind of stuff to happen? Because it will get to a point that is so unbearable to deal with that we're going to banish that for good. So it's piling up to a point that we're going to get this leverage point and something will be done. That's our hope. So I have a little video for you just to end. Let me see if I can click on it. There you go. Do we have audio? There you have. Oh, maybe here. Let's try it again.
A college professor began her class by holding up a bottle of water. She asked the students, how much do you think this bottle weighs? 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, the students answered. And then she said, imagine I hold this bottle like this for a few minutes. What do you think would happen? One of the students shouted, nothing. So she said, what if I was to hold this bottle for a few hours? The student said that her arm would then start to hurt. So she asked again, and what if I was to hold this bottle for 24 hours? They said you would be in extreme pain, your arm would fall off or be totally aching. The professor then said, notice the weight of the bottle didn't change during that time at all. The only thing that changed was the length of time I was holding it. She said this bottle represents our challenges, our problems, our worries, our stress and anxiety, and it shows that the longer we hold on to them, the more damage and harm they can cause us. Your peace is more important than driving yourself crazy trying to understand why something happened the way it did. Let it go. As Eckhart Tolle said, Sometimes letting things go is an act of far greater power than defending or hanging on. We don't let it go because we think we can control it. If a person shows you their true colors, don't waste your energy trying to repaint them. If a situation isn't serving you or growing you, don't try to control it. Let it go. Stop wasting energy on people who make you feel like you are hard to love. One of the best moments in life is finding the courage to let go of what you cannot change. It's not holding on that's the issue. It's what we're holding on to. We can either hold on to things that weigh us down or lift us up. Sometimes the weight we want to lose isn't on our body. The most expensive real estate in the world isn't Dubai, it's not Singapore, it's not New York or San Francisco. It's your mind. Don't let anything or anyone stay there for free. You have to understand that people come and go. Stop holding on to those who let go of you a long time ago. Sometimes the person who hurt you, they won't have the answers. You have to find them yourself. They won't have the reasons. You have to learn them yourself. They won't give you closure. You have to do that yourself. And remember, if we don't heal the pain of our past, we will bleed all over our future. Just set it down and walk away.
Our real estate is too expensive to put things that don't belong there. Don't pay rent. Don't put unnecessary things in your mind for free. Don't do that. Try to. That is one Nobel Prize scientist. I'm not going to remember the name of his book, but it's about a zebra. It's the way the zebra sees the world. The zebra just stress when she sees the lion or any kind of enemy. After that and before that, she's worry-free. She lives superficially in that sense, but she doesn't worry about what's gonna come and what's gonna happen in the future or what happens before. She keeps living. She keeps looking at her world, focusing on what happens. So I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna sleep, I'm gonna do my stuff. She's not overthinking. And that's the price that we pay too high for our real estate. We overthink things. We create our own ghosts. We create our own challenges. Most of them are not real. Most of them are not even worth to be thinking. But we keep doing that. So I think the best advice is don't waste your real estate. It's too precious for us to give it to something or somebody else. Thank you.